Imagine waking up 30,000 years ago. You're hunting with your tribe when suddenly you slip on a wet rock. Crack! Your leg is broken. There are no doctors, no hospitals, no painkillers, no antibiotics, and no ambulances. Just you, your tribe, and the unforgiving wilderness.
Today, a broken leg is painful but treatable. Back then, it could mean death. So how did our ancestors survive long enough to build civilizations? Life in the Stone Age was constantly trying to kill you. A sharp stone could cut your hand, a hunting accident could break your bones, an animal bite could leave a deep wound, and even a tiny thorn could become deadly. The biggest danger wasn't always the injury itself, it was infection. Ancient humans had no idea bacteria existed. They couldn't see the microscopic organisms entering their wounds. All they knew was that sometimes a small cut became red, swollen, painful, and after a few days, someone who looked perfectly healthy was suddenly gone. To them, it seemed like a curse. But today, we know it was infection. Scientists believe that before modern medicine, infections were among the leading causes of death in human history. So why didn't humanity disappear? Because our ancestors slowly learned something incredible through observation and experience. Every generation remembered which plants helped, which treatments failed, and which methods saved lives. Without books or laboratories, they built the world's first medical knowledge. Their hospital wasn't made of bricks, it was the forest itself. Nature became their pharmacy. Ancient humans discovered that some leaves reduced swelling, certain herbs eased pain, clay protected wounds, smoke kept insects away, and honey helped wounds heal because it naturally slowed the growth of many harmful bacteria, even though they didn't understand why. They also learned that willow bark could reduce pain and fever, long before chemistry explained its active ingredients. Every successful treatment became knowledge that parents passed to children and elders passed to young hunters. But what if someone broke a bone? Imagine being kicked by a giant deer and hearing your arm snap. Today, you'd get an X-ray and a cast. 30,000 years ago, none of that existed. Yet archaeologists have discovered ancient skeletons with completely healed broken arms, legs, and even crushed hips. That discovery tells us something remarkable. Those people couldn't hunt or gather food for weeks or months, so they must have been cared for by others. Their tribe fed them, protected them, and waited for them to recover. Human survival wasn't just about strength, it was about cooperation. Compassion became one of our species' greatest survival tools. Even so, there was still an invisible enemy no one could see. A wound might look fine at first, but then the skin turned red, the body developed a fever, and the infection spread. Ancient humans didn't know bacteria existed, yet their own immune systems fought back. Millions of white blood cells attacked invading microbes every time a wound appeared. Those with stronger immune systems were more likely to survive and pass their genes to future generations. Evolution itself slowly made humanity better at surviving disease. Then comes one of the most surprising discoveries in archaeology. Thousands of years ago, ancient people performed a procedure called trepanation, carefully creating a hole in the skull using stone tools. It sounds terrifying, but archaeologists have found skulls where new bone grew around those holes, proving many patients survived for years afterward. Scientists still debate whether it was done to relieve pressure after injuries, treat severe headaches, or for spiritual reasons. But one thing is certain: ancient humans experimented, observed results, and learned from experience. They weren't helpless, they were innovators. When we think about prehistoric humans, we often imagine fearless hunters carrying spears, but their greatest weapon wasn't strength, speed, or sharp tools. It was knowledge. Every healed wound taught a lesson. Every survivor passed that lesson to the next generation. Those lessons became traditions. Traditions became medicine. And over thousands of years, they eventually became the hospitals and healthcare systems we rely on today. The next time you visit a doctor or take an antibiotic, remember that for more than 99% of human history, there were no hospitals, no pharmacies, and no modern medicine. Yet our ancestors survived ice ages, dangerous predators, broken bones, deadly infections, and unimaginable pain. not because they were lucky, but because they learned, adapted, and cared for one another. Modern medicine wasn't invented overnight. It was built one survivor, one discovery, and one generation at a time.